Today, I have a special guest. Her, this woman, man, oh man, I had to write things down. Like, this woman is amazing. Her
Thank
name
you.
is Koya Bakare. Hi,
Yes.
Koya.
Hi, how are you? How's everyone doing? Hope you're vibrating well. So glad to be here with you.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm excited to have you. So, like I said earlier, I had to write things down because it was a list. You are amazing. You are an
Well,
author.
yes.
Okay. You are a model, a national pageant queen. You were featured in Essence, In Style, Vogue. Did I miss anything? See,
We've been blessed.
you are being modest. You are
Yeah,
being modest.
you, you know, so I've been blessed. I have been blessed to be in different magazines, being featured lead model for many things and on different runways and platforms, and we can, speak on that. But
Right.
it's all led to this and what it's been for. Those moments are great, but it's to hopefully for other wonderful human beings to see despite your trauma. And I'm a
Yes.
cry. I'm a big cry. I'm a big crier.
It's okay.
uh,
Cry. Hmm.
that thank you. And I was sharing earlier where some may say, I guess I shouldn't say that, but I'm a waterhead. But I let my emotions definitely serve me, but I just definitely give abundant thanks for my opportunities. But it's definitely to say, hey,
Yeah.
despite the trauma, you
Yes.
still there's still another side. So yes, I've done some things. I've done some things. So I thank you.
Listen,
For
pat yourself in
acknowledging.
the back. It wasn't
Absolutely.
easy. And
Absolutely.
like you said, this is what you are meant to do. So we're going to jump right into it. So, do you have your tissues?
Listen, I keep them on deck as I look for them. Look at them. But I do, yes.
Okay. So I know you've been through some personal challenges. Do you mind if I share some?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So you were bullied in school
Yes, when I was younger. Yes.
when you were younger. Um, Also, you you're gonna make me cry,
Mhm.
but um, you were sexually assaulted,
Yes, I was.
and what else? How did you turn your pain into purpose after going through all that?
I'm a jump forward and then I'll go backwards. So
Oh, okay.
in my 20s, so I also dealt with, and please know this is, I'm not saying it as a badge of honor, but it's the
Mhm.
things that rooted from the sexual assault. So I dealt with bulimia, and thank God I got this wrong, but I attempted suicide twice.
Yeah.
Thank God I got it wrong. In my 20s, as I was having a bulimic bout, meaning I was actively in the throes of, in the bathroom, my own personal throne at the time. One of my friends, one of my coworkers, because I would go through my bulimic episodes wherever I knew a bathroom was, I would find it out. And it was a sense of control because at the time I didn't feel I had any control or anything. But he said to me, literally walked into the women's bathroom and said to me, if I did it again, that he would tell my father. He didn't know my dad, but he knew that I had such a reverence for my father, and I believed him that that would be enough to say, hey, listen, I was literally killing myself. And I didn't see it that way. That evening, I was so afraid. I was just saturated with fear because I was just thinking, oh my gosh, what if he tells my dad? Then I thought, what are you doing? Enough. Enough, Koya. At the time, the TV was on, and I don't know those who may be familiar with the activist Les Brown, but he happened to be on TV and he said an African proverb affirmation that changed my life. He said, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside would do me no harm. If there is no enemy within, the enemy outside would do me no harm. I had allowed so much toxic venom by way of words and actions to define me. I didn't realize it at that time that I didn't realize I had an ability to create my own narrative. And when I heard that, it shook me and it changed my life instantaneously. It wasn't all of a sudden that I didn't have the onset of grief and woefulness of the trauma. It wasn't all of a sudden that my bulimic experiences superseded or ceased, but it was when I made up my mind that that was the road I would no longer take. And so I put myself back into active therapy. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and I'm still in therapy. Yay, yay therapy,
Mhm.
yay therapy.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and me was so my name is super long, and one of my names is a Kendule. My name is about 9 names long, and it means the treasure. And what she said to me, she said, "When are you going to allow a Kendule to stop saving Koya?" And I didn't understand what she meant. You have, she said, Koya, Kendule keeps swooping in to save her. Kendule needs to go and take Koya out the basement. And I said, Kolya's fine. She's great. She said, no, you have compartmentalized so well that you've left her there. Kendula is pushing forward, but take her out that basement. So that was a whole other type of piece because now I had to unpack those things I had forced myself to no longer remember. And and I thought I was good at that point. This is not so long ago. This is in the last few years. And I had to physically go back. I could smell it. I could feel everything that happened to her. And I had to physically take her out that basement. So all those things led up to me being in this space. But I realized my purpose long time ago. I just didn't know how to activate it
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I was so entrenched with grief and anger and resentment. And I didn't understand if God is divine and all these different wonderful things. Why is this happening to me? So it was a couple of things I had to deal with, but I always knew my purpose was to be one of hope and of light. I didn't know that this would be a part of it. And so now here we are. I'm so glad I got that wrong. I got the I got those attempts wrong because I have a zest for life. And it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. It's sweet now. And I celebrate having a chance again to be here with you.
Oh, wow. I commend you. You
Thank
so
you.
inspiring. So how did you reclaim your voice?
My mother, she passed away a couple of years ago, and she loved my sister and I. My mama loved us down. You hear me? She loved us
Mhm.
down. And she knew I struggled with self-worth. And she enacted mindfulness practices. We didn't have a word for it then, but she would have me to speak to myself and affirm myself. And it started then. And so as I've gotten older, I started writing down my own affirmations. I started speaking to myself. And I had and with therapy, again, gay therapy,
Mhm.
is going back and reclaiming my power from my abusers, and even reclaiming my power from myself that I was taking from myself when I tried to expire myself, when I was going through bulimia. It was identifying, and hey, you're uniquely made, not to make it cliche-ish, but Koya, you absolutely matter. And so, in that, in identifying just the crux, the framework of who are the essence of my very soul, I
Mhm.
was able to tap into who I actually am. And in that, in those moments, little by little, step by step, I found my voice. And
Mhm.
so when I would literally crawl to the bathroom because my stomach is entrenched with pain because I've been having this bulimic episodes, I now can stand. When I would just cower over because I wanted to be invisible. I'm 5'8", so I'm not gonna be that much. That ain't good. But I found it in those moments when I realized the sun was shining and it had the nerve to be shining on me. I mattered. When I would go by the water and it wasn't thinking about, oh, is there a way that I can take myself out with water? It was seeing the ripples and the celebration of the waves. And that song and dance, that sonnet was for me.
Mhm.
So in those moments, again, a lot of work, but I was able to find it. What I realized, and it goes back to what I said earlier, I have a right to create my own narrative. So I had to look externally from myself to see what was happening around me. Because my goodness, if the earth, if the day, if our shared sun and moon can show up for others, can it do the same for me?
Right.
And so in those moments, I was able to, and I still do, I still celebrate and thank gosh, I hear the birds and that song, and it's not to be hubris, but it's finding that I matter.
Yes.
And for so long, I didn't realize that I even existed, if that even makes sense. And so, yes, I found my voice in moments and in self-love practices.
Mhm. Right. And you deserve to be here.
Thank you. And I want to be here. I'm excited
That's
to be
right.
here. I'm
That's
excited. This is
right.
a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. I love it. Yeah, yes.
What we have to realize is our inner child.
Mhm.
We have to um, love on our inner child. Let our inner child, like young Cora, know that she deserves to be here.
Mhm.
What happened to her wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
She is loved,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
that's what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I love her now. She's spoiled rotten by me. That shit. Yes, but I feel um we innately as human beings do a lot of this. We can give unto
Mhm.
people, other human beings, but sometimes we negate to love and give that same type of encouragement and grace and kindness to ourselves.
Yeah.
I was speaking about this the other day, we can move so fast. And so what I had to do is to remember that every aspect of my life needs to be suffocated with love because of the trauma, suffocated with love.
Mhm. Mhm. And we will fill other people's cup,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we need to fill
Absolutely.
our own cup. So,
Absolutely.
what does resilience mean to you?
Oh, it's so much. And I know we as human beings sometimes we use that word in so many scenarios, but for me it's pushing through. It's me. Oh, one of my favorite scriptures says, "Faith without works is dead." It's pushing forward. It's standing up when I may be a little nervous, a little afraid to do so. It's pushing through, it's taking the day on, it's having tenacity and determination. It's knowing who you are and
Yes.
walking through a door. And you may not know what's on the other side, but you know enough about yourself and you know your purpose. And even let's say if you don't know, but you know enough about yourself that you're daring, that you're bold, and you can walk through that door knowing that you're ready. And to me, that's for Koya, that's resilience.
Yes.
Because yeah, because sometimes I must attest, some days aren't as chipper. Some days I don't want to get up and move, but it's okay. I honor my humanity. I do the work and say, okay, so why are you feeling this way? It can be different reasons, but I'm resilient. And so I still push through.
We're human.
We're human. And
You're
I
gonna
honor that.
have right. You're gonna have your
Yeah.
good days. You're gonna have your bad
Mhm.
days.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
But you
Yes,
walk through
ma'am.
the door with your head held high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without question.
You're right.
And on purpose. With power.
Okay. So, what advice do you have for others who feel silent?
My first thought is, and I think it varies, and I actually spoke on this yesterday. But my first thought is why? Because it's important to identify where that emotion is coming from. But in understanding why, it's also equipping yourself with those tools, those resources, those people to help you to remember that you are bold, that you have a voice. Now, one can say, "Oh, Koya, and all your 25 other names, I don't, I don't have a tribe." Um, there are helplines. There are different places of worship. There are different associations. And I would dare, and I do this, I push back. I like to say, you actually do have someone. You may not feel open to express this to someone. And I have found that in my experience. But I would say reach out to someone who you trust with those secrets that you even refrain to tell yourself about yourself to help you to walk your journey. It's not always going to be easy, but your voice matters. You matter. And in your feeling silent, there may be work that you may need to do, which also comes back to your self love. Because when I hear being silent, I hear you, one saying they feel alone. And I felt that too in a room full of people, and I'm feeling alone. So it comes back to why, and let's address the why. And as you're addressing the why, identifying that you are uniquely, and I'm going back to the same thing, uniquely and beautifully made. When you know who you are, that shifts things. It shifts things mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So now that I understand who I am, I've defined myself for myself. I am the author of my own narrative, of my own love story. I may choose to be silent, but I am not silent because I've elected to stand in this posture because I know who I am. I
Yes.
won't be silenced by others. I won't, even if I'm in a room full of people and I may not know them, I still feel bold. I still know that I matter. So it's multi-layered, but it comes back to your why. Why are you feeling this way? And then defining who you are for yourself.
Mhm. That's that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. So, what practice helped you rebuild your confidence?
I spoke about the mindfulness practices I started with my mother. I do them every day. So that started me building my voice. Additionally, I put myself in uncomfortable situations, meaning I started to date myself. That was the most craziest thing. Meaning I would, because I was afraid of people and environments because I wasn't trusting. However, I had to learn to first trust myself. And then
Right.
trusting myself, I was able to follow my spirit and my intuition. So I would then go out to maybe a museum or do things that felt foreign to me, maybe normal to other people. But now I'm making myself vulnerable, not to the external, but actually to myself, because now I'm no longer in an isolated space. So I hope that answer started to answer your question. But yeah, I started those practices, therapy.
Yeah.
um, And I had to also figure out what are the things that I love to do, because I was allowing trauma to define so many different things. I had to now learn Koya again. And
Yeah.
in identifying those things that brought me joy, I was able to be enriched with joy. So one of those things happens to be, one may call it low level, but I love working out because what that does, not only the endorphins, I'm now taking pride, and I might cry. I'm taking pride in my body that I felt failed me.
Right.
I'm taking pride in my temple that was abused. I'm allowing myself, and some may look at it totally different. I have this thing. I love to create workout plans. I silence my mind so much that I didn't even want to think. But now I'm in this workout regimen and things like that. I'm thinking through things when at one point all I could do was silence my mind. And so I had to find those things that brought me joy. But I'm very intentional. It's not just to work out, it's to bring joy, bring a wholeness to my temple that once I thought failed me. It's so many aspects, but it's finding those things and reaching into my toolbox in order to help to celebrate who I am each and every day.
Right. You taking your power back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt so helpless. And the hack was I didn't even realize it. It was so normal. It was so normal for me
Yeah.
to feel alone and
Hmm.
being comfortable being uncomfortable. So when
Hmm.
I started to celebrate and love on myself, it was so foreign. How
Yeah.
dare how dare I write myself a love letter? Nobody loves me. How dare I go out and seek to have holistic practices for my temple? It was abused.
Right.
How dare I say good morning to someone? That's not a good morning.
Right.
My younger self is still sitting and just waiting for someone to rescue her. It's not good. So
Hmm.
it was about changing and reaching forcefully to grab back my power.
Yeah.
It took a while, but oh baby, it feels good, and I'm not arrogant. It's not working here. It feels good because for so long, um, I forgot to remember that I mattered. So it
Right.
feels good. It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels great.
Well, self-love is not selfish, and people
Yes.
need to, remember that. Just
Yeah.
loving yourself and giving you the love that you deserve and need is not selfish. I wish more
Absolutely.
people would do it.
Yes. And I feel sometimes the term um it doesn't have the weight that it deserves.
Hmm.
We are our greatest lovers. How dare we give someone else that much control over our being? And
Yeah.
it's not even about the physicality, it's about the heart space. It's
Yeah.
about the mental agility. It's about you being able to love and saturate yourself with that said, and to push forward
Right.
despite what may be happening externally to you. We the authors of the greatest love story I own. I
Right.
celebrate mine. It's a bestseller. I celebrate mine. It
Yeah,
is.
you know, we have to love ourselves. How can we
Yes.
how can we love ourselves? How can we love anyone else if we can't love ourselves
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
receive love?
I agree. I don't I have to wonder in the school of life if sometimes we bypass that lesson, because oftentimes I feel it's you give, you nurture, you care for, you adore. But I haven't really heard, now I do, but I didn't hear that narrative from many. Now my mother, my godmother, my parents, they spoke to me about it, but they're my guardians, they're my parents. They're supposed to tell me these things, right?
Right,
But I didn't realize that's not only something that we should do,
right.
that we must do for our own lifeline.
You're right. We must do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have another question.
Sure.
How has your journey in the pageant and modeling influenced your your um your perceptive of beauty?
Thank you for asking me that.
Okay.
um, so I deem beauty to be, one may say, the external. I look internally, right?
Yes.
And so one could say from the outside in, okay, Cole, you exist in this world that's looking at the aesthetic. That's not my barometer. That's not the compass. So the way that some aspects, not all, of the beauty industry operates, and I just want to be very clear that all aspects on it, it's become very, I've seen a shift with where there's a celebration, it's this bold celebration of so many variations of being a human being. So it hasn't it shaped my perception, but in a positive way where I celebrate, like, oh, I see my sister, my brother, my non-binary being accepted for who they are, when at a time some aspects of the industry did not. But the way I was raised and the way that I see others, it's never been about the aesthetic. I said to a friend the other day, I said, I've never seen someone who one may deem unattractive based off the aesthetic. For me, it's based, if you may see someone who may not be appealing to you, and that's your choice. But I
Right.
haven't met someone who isn't physically appealing, because I don't even see that. It doesn't even make sense. I'm looking at your heart. I'm
Yes.
looking at the fruit of your energy and your spirit. So it shaped my perception from the lens of, I never looked at beauty, I'm
Mhm.
doing air quotes for everybody, beauty from the aesthetic. But it shaped it where I have this bountifulness of glee and abundance, because I now see a greater and a bolder celebration of so many other dynamics of being a human being that at one time was not always celebrated
Right.
or even recognized. And so I love the shift. I love being a part of it, and being a seasoned model pageant queen. I love the celebration of the diversity of all of our ages. There isn't a certain look that says that you're aesthetically pleasing. What it is I believe we now have a voice, all of us, to say, I have, um, my outlook on life may vary from you, or what's appealing maybe to the eye, But dang on it, all of us are beautifully made. All of us are beautiful. Now your actions now have to align with that.
Right.
Then I'm gonna sit back and say, maybe we need to have a discussion of how you're showing up in the world. And that has nothing to do with the aesthetic.
Right. You could be beautiful but ugly inside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You can. And that's real. That's real.
okay, so I have another one. What is
Yes.
one message you wish every person s- who struggle with their self-worth could hear from you?
Thank you. And it goes back to the quote, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside would do me no harm. Plainly, you are the author of the greatest love story, your own. Do not allow someone else, no matter the trauma, no matter the success, the glee, the sadness, the grief, do not allow it to define you. You need to dig deep. I admonish you to dig deep. Go into the caverns of your heart, caverns of your mind. Listen to your thoughts. Identify who you are and that you are loved. And I'm talking about love on yourself. If you don't know how to do it, call me up. Send me a DM. We'll
Yeah,
walk through it. Because
yeah,
what I don't want to happen is someone to be into the thrust, and I know it happens. It's a quiet killer. Self worth, lack of self love, lack of self esteem. We may not talk about it, but it's what gets us to this place. Had me to that place when I wanted to expire myself.
mhm,
But when you realize that you are worthy of life, and you are light, and you are beauty, that changes the game. If there is no enemy within, the enemy outside will do me no harm. Do not. I admonish you, do not be a victim to your own thoughts. Celebrate yourself. Love on yourself. I write a love letter to myself pretty often
mhm,
because it's necessary. Do not allow someone else to define you for you.
mhm. So, I, like I told you earlier, I have a self-love and self-care one-to-one session. And one of the
Mhm.
things I tell my clients, look in the mirror.
Yes.
Look in the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful you are, how smart you are, how wonderful, how fearless, and say your affirmations while
Mhm.
looking, in the mirror every
Yes,
day. Tell you something positive.
absolutely. My grandmother, when I was younger, I didn't understand it then. She would put little stickers, post-it note type things around the house, and she would have scriptures or little things. And I was like, Grandma, she was very orderly, but that is something. And I realized she was affirming herself.
Yes,
And so though we had mirrors, um, but that was her way to allow the power of words. And this is the point I'm trying to get to. Words have energy, and
yes,
energy is motion. And when you see your reflection and you're giving it back to yourself, is now sitting in a zip code in your heart space and in your mind. And that's why I closed my eyes as you were saying it, because I
yeah,
wanted to feel, because we can move so fast that sometimes we forget to remember that energy is a healer. That's the crux of it. So our affirmations, our
mhm,
self-love rituals, all those things are energy. And energy is what moves us forward. So absolutely. I speak to myself daily, and I
mhm.
shift my words sometimes. When I say, oh no, when I say, oh, I want to try, no, I will do.
Yes,
No, I think, no, I know. It doesn't negate that I don't have to go through the process, but I need that energy to fulfill me, and
mhm,
I move with it. So thank you.
yes. And when you love yourself, it shows. People
Yeah,
see that.
yeah.
And like you said, with energy, they will gravitate to you
Mhm.
when because they feel that energy, they feel that love.
Yeah,
So you're right.
absolutely, absolutely. Like an energizer battery. You have that
Right.
backpack, like, and so yes, you're not only fueling yourself, but others are able to receive it and fuel it too.
But it could
Without
go,
question.
but it could go the other way around too.
It can. You're right. It can.
So it works both ways.
Yes.
So what is next for you? What
What's
you
next? Oh my goodness. It's so many wonderful things. Um, so we're in the thrust of Women's History Month. I'm sorry. So we're in History Month, but also we have International Women's History Day. So happy belated to everyone. But I
yes.
have a number of appearances for different organizations that will be celebrating just the achievements and just the journey of many women. I'm working behind the scenes. I spoke a little bit about I love fitness. And so I'm debuting, it's called Sultry Sweat. So it's weird. It's tapping into the self-love aspect. So the sultry is loving, being intimate with yourself. But it involves sweat. and working and it's actually created for those who do not have a current workout regimen and or maybe a little opposed to sweating. And so it introduces it, but also from a self-love perspective. And we're actually finishing up our second book. It's called The Discipline of Love. And it's not discipline as something punitive. It's identifying that there is a structure when it comes to love, specifically self-love. And the crux is pretty straightforward. You're not relying upon someone else's regiment of how they're going to love you. You create that for yourself. But it's a discipline because it's a practice. And a practice becomes a habit. And the habit becomes innate. And that then takes you to the next level. You're not only loving on yourself, as we talked about a few minutes ago, you're exuding that light and that energy. Then you're ready for that next step where you're seeking to be in a partnership or a new business. But when you're cemented in knowing who you are and you have faith in a belief system rooted out love with who you are, you ready and all set to go. So we're doing those things. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. You ever
Yeah,
the person know? Able to say.
it sounds it sounds exciting. Well,
Yeah.
you said that was your second book. What is your first book and how can people get it?
Absolutely. So the first book I did, oh my gosh, so many years ago. It was a collaborative with um it's a 7 or 8 other authors. And we spoke about the love of fatherhood and what that looks like. I think
Yeah.
it's still available on Amazon. I can send that to you and let others know.
Okay.
But it was quite healing. I hope you don't hear my dog barking. That's Cornelius. He's outside.
We do.
um, yes, pardon, but but yes, and I can send it out with that. But that was the first one, and then I didn't think I would ever write a book. I
Mhm.
actually stepped back from doing that. I thought it was so taxable. But as we were growing and elevating with our own self care and self love, I realized, hey, I was getting this wrong. I'm thinking that, oh, I can step into these different spaces and go to different sessions. And even with my therapist, it's great that I'm having all these tools and resources handed to me and these practices, but it starts with me. If
Yeah.
I'm not enacting, though I'm going, but if I'm not consistently, continuously enacting what needs to happen, which is now a discipline, I've missed the mark.
Right.
And so that's how that was birthed. It was an aha moment.
Mhm. Okay, you said you were doing an exercise regimen.
Yes.
So how can people purchase it? I mean, is it going to be in person, virtual?
Right now, I'm working with one of the parks and services recreational centers. So right now, it's going to be front facing, as we say in education. It will be in person, and then probably in the next 6 months, I'm going to tailor it. We're going to debut it just to see. And then I do want to have some sessions. I want to have them free that will be available online. My website will be up soon. It'll be unlimited with Koya. So give me a few. We hope that we was talking about this earlier. I'm excited. I just want to be. I want to be perfect. I don't believe in perfect, but I want it to be perfect. So yes, but you can always reach out to me. I know you have my social media handles, and we're looking to launch that pretty soon. So you'll be able to see it right then and there. Tell me what you think, everyone. I'm
A-
excited.
And where location, where it's gonna be?
Right now, we're looking in Montgomery County, Maryland,
Uh,
and we're speaking with the couple of the recs here, and I'm also going to speak over with DC Parks and Recreation. We just want to do one launch, a soft launch, um, but I'll definitely have it posted. I am enthusiastic. I've been working on this baby for a while. It's when you birth a baby and you see it. I'm like, look at her, look at him, look at them. Oh, sweet. So yeah, so look forward to that. It'll be probably in the next few weeks to a month for the website as well as the debut of Sultry Sweat. I'll have the dates announced on my social media, and you'll be able to take part. I'm very excited. Yeah, take
so
part. Sultry Sweat.
so speaking of social media, can you
Yes.
get give them your social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook Meta as Koya, Koya, Maisha, Maisha, on Instagram as Koya, Koyam, and on TikTok as Koya, Koyamaisha. My name is super long. Can I tell it to you? Can I tell you my full name?
Yeah, say yeah, tell us.
Okay, my full name is Obediah Wakoya Maisha Yamu Kinjale Helena Amari Batamala Bakare. It means I now call you a wise woman, happy and successful in life, the sun, the center, the treasure, a daughter of light, soft and gentle, yet firm. Look
That
at
sounds
this.
like you. It's a perfect
Thank you.
name for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored.
Koya, it was such a pleasure having you on my
Thank you.
platform. I am excited of all the things that you are doing. I would love to be a part of some things that you are doing. So
Absolutely.
I will be reaching out to you.
Absolutely.
And your website's going to be up, you said, in a couple of months?
Um, at I hope not a couple of months. We're looking at a couple of weeks to a month at best.
Weeks.
But I'll
Okay.
definitely post on. I'm excited. I got chills. I'm
And
about to
can
birth a
you
baby.
and can you tell me your books, the name of your books again?
So the one that's coming out, it'll be launched on the social media site as well as my website. It's The
Mhm.
Discipline of Love. It's gonna
Okay.
be a short, quick read. Like as quick as relative, and it'll have a journal aspect to that. And Legacy of Fathers is the first book that I co-wrote with about seven other authors, and in that we depicted our journey um, as children, and the love and the cherishment, and even some of the trials we had um, in the relationships with our dad. But overly, it's a celebration of fatherhood because
Mhm.
we felt that a lot of times our fathers were left out of the narrative. of who we are. So it was a piece to celebrate that love aspect. So Legacy of Fathers, excuse me, Legacy of Fathers. I think it's still maybe on Amazon, and The Discipline of Love, which is forthcoming.
Yes. Well, please follow her so you can have the updates on what Koya is doing so you won't miss out. Thank you, Koya, for
Thank
being
you.
here. I am honored.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I would like everyone to download the OWL app, and that's OWWLL. And it's an app that you can call and speak to me and many other entrepreneurs. If you put my code in W644625, the OWL app will give you $10. Hey, $10 is $10. Give me a call. Koya, have a wonderful day and thank
You
you
too.
for coming on my platform.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Take good care.
Bye.